Hello everybody, this is Evan with Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today I am bringing you a review for It's a Wonderful Kingdom. It's a 1 to 2 player game. Takes about 45 minutes to play, so I'm going to take you down to the tabletop, show you kind of what's going on with the game here, then bring you back up and give you my final thoughts. Hang tight. Alright, so down into the table here for It's a Wonderful Kingdom. So there's a main board here that I'm not going to put out just yet. I want to show you a bunch of the cards and how the cards actually work. And then once we talk about the cards and the core mechanic of I cut, you pick in this game, which is the key thing that's behind this, I'm going to show you how the board actually interacts with everything and how you pull the resources between the cards and the board itself. So, looking at the cards that are out here, so the idea of the game is you are trying to get to the throne of the kingdom and instead of restoring it to its rightful heir, which of course is you, whichever you want to be over here. And in order to prove that you are worthy of that, you need to build the best area possible. So, there's two sides here. I'm going to flip this one over so you can see this side here. So this is the basic side for each, and then this is the more advanced side. So on the basic side, you're going to have the resource area here, and this is your production. So this one has this that it's going to generate. It's three grays and a purple. And then down here in the corner, this is talking about how you can get the red resource, which I'm going to slide the board out real quick. As you can see with the game, there are 4 main resources. There's the red, which is a wild resource, and then you also have soldiers, which are up here, which is a resource also. So those are what I'm going to be referring to as the resources through the game. So as I showed, you have the reminder here of how you get the red resources. The advanced side, this is going to show you a bonus to victory points. And then it's going to be also 3 grays production. And instead of being the purple, this one is on the yellow. That's what it's going to gain every turn. As opposed to, the purple, like I said. This one, instead of yellow, does blue. So the little variety in between the two. So you can see how those two work. So you just kind of decide which one you want to be for the game. And you go from there. So the main board here would normally lay out right here in between, and you would have your sides. So we're going to pretend that the board's out here so I can explain how the card drafting and everything goes. So these are the cards that are going to be out. And what these cards do over here is the required resources that you need to build it. So it's going to show you how many of whatever resource it needs. Sometimes it'll need that wild. The wilds can be used for anything else. Like these ones here require gold. You can see gold up here. This one also requires purple. And then this one also requires some gray over here. So that's what's required to build it. Along the bottom, it's going to show you what you're going to get. So these are 2 different types of cards. This one is going to get you, once you build it, is going to give you more of the gray resource. This one doesn't give you any resource. This will give you straight up 2 victory points. This one says 4 times any of the blue cards. So you can see like this one is gold on the bottom, but there are other ones out there that are like blue at the bottom or purple at the bottom. They represent various kind of cards and style or different types of cards that are out there. So along with that, you'll also see the name of the card right here. If there's anything that's above the name, it's an immediate resource that you get as soon as it's built. So like this one will get you 3 soldiers, but there are other ones that'll get you like just a general resource, or like this one here will get you a red immediately. So, and there's other ones that are out there too. Up in this corner here, if you do choose not to build, which I'm going to go into choosing whether you build or not, if you decide not to build it, you can scrap it for a resource. So this will tell you what you'll get for that one. So like these two here are worth a gray if you decide to scrap them. So the main portion of the game here is whoever's turn it is, which I'll show you how you keep track of your turns when I pull the board out. You're going to deal out 7 cards to each person. Once you have the 7 cards, you're going to get, depending on the module of the game you're playing, but for the basic version, you're going to get what's called the Calamity card, which I showed you earlier is a negative card. They're going to go into your hand. So you have 7 good cards, 1 bad card. And then you're going to put, like I put these 2 out, you're going to pull these off the top of the deck. And that's the starting hand that you're going to work with. So you put these out, and then whoever's turn it is, they're going to look through their hand. So I have a hand here, and you're going to decide, what cards am I going to do? So let's say I want to put these 2 cards out. So whatever cards I put out, I don't get to choose right now. It's my opponent gets to choose. So I can put them down here. I can put them up here. I can put them both up here. Whatever order I want to put them in. So let's say I put them 1 and 1 here. My opponent then chooses one of these 2 piles. Let's say he chooses these ones and puts them in front of him. These 2 stay. They now pull their hand, and they're going to put, let's just say they put these 2 out. I'm not really looking. I'm just going to put them out just for the sake of this. So now it's my turn. I can choose this or this, whichever one I want. Let's say I decided I want these ones, so I put them in front of me. One thing that's really cool with the game is you get 2 of these cards, or 2 of these tokens here. They're called trap tokens. So what that means is, instead of placing the cards out, normally I would have to place like 1 and 2 out like that. But like I said, you have that negative card, like the Calamity. So if you put that out there, nobody's going to, straight up go, oh, I want the negative points, I'm going to take that. What you can do is you can play the card upside down and put your token on that. The other person has no idea what that's going to be. So say they take this. They're going to put that on their stack, and they have to put this in their stack, and it has to stay upside down until all the cards are taken. So you're not going to know if you got good card, bad card until the very, very end of this drawing phase. But I'm going to put this back out here. So let's say, as I was trying to pick here and put cards out, so that was the last one chosen. I have to put 2 out. Let's just say I want these ones here. Like I like both those piles. I like this one a little bit more, but I do like these ones. So let's say I put this good looking card right out here. I could put this negative up here and try and trap it. One of the strategies with the game too is, say I really want this card also for what I'm building. I could also play that and trap that. My opponent doesn't know if I played that negative card or not, so they may think that I played that as a negative, so that kind of pushes them away from choosing this row, possibly makes them want to take that, leaving this available for me. So a lot of things you're going to have to think about as you go along with the game. How am I going to use these traps to persuade and push my opponent to take the opposite piles of what I need, or how can I trap them so I can get my bad cards to them and hopefully give them the maximum amount of negative points every turn. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go clear this off here. I'm going to put the main board out along the top here, and then we're going to show you how you actually build your resources here. So hang on while I do that. Alright, so I got the main board out here, and you can see how you have all the resources out here. You've got the wilds out here. You've got, along the top, you have your knights, or your soldiers, I should say. So right here, integrated on the board, it's going to show you what turn it is. The little marker here, so turn 1, it's going to go this way to the blue, turn 2, and it's going to go back and forth. Only 4 turns to the game, so you have to make decisions, and you have to stick with them pretty well. So we're playing as the blue person here, so this is what they get under production here. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the cards that we managed to pull. So I just divvied some out so you can kind of see. So we got some good stuff here. So we're going to slide this up a little bit more here so we have a little more room. Okay. So we got this hamlet. We've got this treasure. Tax office here. So I'm just going to kind of cover the bottom here a little bit so we can see these couple things here. So we got an outpost there, a buried treasure, city of Anor. And then we got this gigantic mine and this nexus here. So one thing we're going to look at here. So you build as you go. So we want to look at these cards and we want to decide what we want to keep and what we want to do with them. So one of the first things we see, what can we get to and accomplish pretty quick? So we know we have this production here. So we got 3 gray and a blue. So if we look at that, one of the easier ones to build is going to be this outpost here because it's going to be 2 gray. There's that blue that we need. We'll just need to get a purple somehow, which we have a couple cards that we could get rid of for purple, but we might not want to get rid of that one because this one's fairly easy to build too. So let's take a look. So we know we want to, so we're going to slide these cards over here for right now. So we know we're going to want to build the outpost. We know we're probably going to want to build that hamlet too, and you can see it's going to give us quite a bit too. Also, it's going to give us some soldiers, which is pretty important, especially if you're playing with the monsters into the decks. They're a very, very important resource. So we know we want to build those two, so we're going to put those out into our pile here. So we're going to play the treasure here because it gives us 2 gray right away. So we're going to do that. It goes into the discard there. Now, since I play that, I have to place these 2 gray cubes somewhere. You can only play the cubes if they have that cost on the card. At any point, if you try to play a cube on a, or you get a resource and you don't have a card that can take that resource, it has to go on your duchy card. And that's how you build 5 of any color. You can turn into a red wild. But these 2 gray we could use for something immediately. So what we're going to do, we're going to stick them right here. We're going to stick them on the hamlet. So we need a purple in order to complete that. So we're going to look at the cards here. What else do we possibly want to build? So these are giving us pretty much all the resources. The only one that we're not getting is we're not getting any yellows out here. So one that we could do, we could also put this tax office here because it's going to eventually give us the 2 yellow when we complete that. Now, one thing we want to look in the future, so we're going to get 2 blue plus 1 blue on production here once we get that. So if we look at some of these, the buried temple is one that we might want to take a look at. It's going to give us a red when we complete it. And then any of the purple cards, which we don't have any of those right now, are going to be worth 2 times. So that's not a bad one, possibly. The city of Eleanor, if we get any gold ones, is going to be worth 3 times. It only takes 3 and a wild. If we complete that tax office and we go with 2, we're going to get that. We're going to get here, so that's one thing. Well, let's just say, let's go with the buried temple just because it looks like we're going to be fairly close with that one. So we're going to put that into also to our build pile here. So that leaves us with these cards here. I don't think we're going to use these too much right now. So what we can do is we can use these and just scrap them, and we can get a blue, and a yellow. So we'll get those, and we'll have to place them immediately. So let's take a look at the blue, and the yellow. What can we do those for? So let's put the blue here, and this yellow we can't place anywhere. Oop. So it's going to have to go onto this card. Okay. So if we completed any cards, they're going to go on top of here and part of our production. So we haven't completed anything. So now it actually goes into the production phase of this game. So we want to take a look at what we get, and you start here and you work this way. Also, this part, you and your opponent, you do them simultaneously. So as I was doing this, the other opponent over on this side, they're going to also be doing this. So we're going to look here. So what production do I have? So I get 3 of this gray. I can place it anywhere. So what I'm going to do, I don't have any purples coming out onto these. I could have possibly used that for this. You know, if I would have scrapped that, that could have been something I could have done, but I decided not to do that this turn. So I'm going to take this 3, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on the tax office. So that completes it. As soon as it's filled, you take the resources right off of it. It is completed, and it goes right on top here. So I don't want to cover up the card, so I'm just going to put it over to the side here like this. So this is now completed. It has nothing above the tax office name here, so there is no additional that I get off that. So it moves into the next thing. Purple. Is there any purple production? There is no purple production. Now, one thing I forgot to mention here that I'm going to mention now. So when we do the gray production, I'm going to do it, and the opponent's we're going to do it simultaneously. Whoever has the most production of that resource type, they're going to claim what's called Supremacy. What Supremacy is, over here, on these 2 tokens, if you have Supremacy, you take one of these night tokens and you put it right here. If you claim Supremacy for a second resource, you get it. So it's a additional way that you can gain that. So let's just say in that first phase, we both produced 3 gray, no Supremacy here. So let's say now we're into the purple, where I'm not producing any purple. Let's say my opponent produces a purple. So they would get Supremacy for that. They would build if they completed anything like that, and we would move on. We go into the yellow. So even though I didn't have this initially, since I built it in this phase and as it goes across, I now get this. So I get 2 yellow that I can use to build anything I have. Now I don't have anything in there, so it goes onto my card. Now that could have been something that I could have possibly looked at with, you know, the cards that I scrapped. I am going to get a yellow or 2 yellows out of this, so maybe I want to build using those. But that's not the case. But going onto the duchy card, it's not a bad thing, because as soon as you gain 5, you get this red, and I can use that for whatever I want to use it for. Now, I will say that if you do put resources onto your duchy card here, you cannot take them back off again. So they have to stay there until you get up to 5, and then it trades for the red. The red goes onto the card. Those are the only resource that can come off at any point. So since I pulled 2 yellow, let's say my opponent didn't have any yellow, I would claim Supremacy, so I'd take a night card and put that right there. And then it would go into blue. Anybody produces blue. I produce 1 blue, put that wherever I want. So I already have a blue onto this, can't put it here, so it'd have to go over onto this there. And that would be the cleanup here. Whatever, you know, cards that we scrapped, they would go away. We would refresh our hands, and we would repeat this phase. Again, this would go over to 2. Right there. And then the game would repeat on through 4, and then you tally up victory points. And that's the core crux of the game there. So I'm going to take you up from the tabletop and give you my final thoughts about this. So, It's a Wonderful Kingdom, final thoughts. So, it is a really cool 2-player game. I really like how the player interaction works. I like how you have to draw these hands, play out cards. I like that. Where am I going to play these cards? How am I going to use trap cards to manipulate what my other players thinking? Did I pull a bad card out there for them? Am I trying to hide a good card so I can try and save it for myself? I really like how that works. The engine building into it, I like it a lot. It's not super complicated with it, and I like how as you build the things, you can gain that resource immediately as opposed to waiting next turn, which is really nice with only 4 turns into the game. It plays really smoothly. It works it's really clean. The mechanics are really
well thought out and well oiled, so it works pretty great. If you're looking for a really good two-player game with a lot of interaction between the two players, this is really a good one for you to get. So I really recommend that if that's the kind of style that you're looking for. As always, definitely hit the subscribe button, like our content, tell us stuff that you see in here that you like, more things that you want to see from us, and until next time, have a good night.